Unraveling the UFO Endgame, a cosmic conversation with Blake and Brent Cousins. Episode 56 of the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters Podcast Live Edition. Welcome to the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters Podcast, where we explore the unexplained and mysterious phenomena that have occurred throughout the state of Michigan and beyond.
From UFO sightings to ghostly encounters, we delve deep into the stories, the evidence, and the theories behind these strange events.
We are your hosts. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Wayne.
We are an educator duo that after an encounter with a triangular UFO in 2018 in Michigan, we decided to investigate UFOs and the paranormal. In this podcast, we will be speaking with eyewitnesses, experts, and researchers to uncover the truth about some of the most intriguing cases of paranormal activity in and around Michigan.
Our goal is not to convince anyone of the existence of these phenomena, but rather to provide a platform for discussion and exploration. So, buckle up and join us on this journey down the paranormal rabbit hole.
On an escalator.
All right, everybody. How is it going out there? Man, we have a great show for you. Michelle, we have a damn fine show tonight.
Damn fine show tonight.
This is going to be a damn fine show.
Damn fine show.
Damn fine show. All right. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Man, talk about a great show. So this is episode 56 of the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters Podcast Live Edition. And it is the 13th of May, 2023 at the time of this recording. So we are currently live right now on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. But always remember, if you don't catch the show, we will be releasing the audio version of this as well on all of the major podcasting platforms, such as iHeartRadio, iTunes, Radio Republic, Google Podcast, Spotify, and many others. So before we get into this and have the Cousins brothers join us, who are waiting patiently backstage, we're going to start things off by saying hi to the chat room. Michelle?
Absolutely. We've got a lot of folks here.
Yes, we do.
Diane is with us, Richie from Goof On. We've got Guy Merritt, Mike J. Let's see. Of course, we've got Mama Dorothy in here. We got Straw Dog. Bernie was here earlier too.
Oh, he's still here. He's still here.
Oh yeah, he's
somewhere.
He's hiding in the shadows.
Yes, he is. So, I see a happy Mother's Day. Yes, absolutely. So to all the mothers out there listening, and
what's up? Not sure.
Even to Michelle right here, happy Mother's Day, everybody.
This is the woman who is not cooking tomorrow.
That's right.
Hey, Rick.
All right. So there's Bernie. See, I told you Bernie was here.
Waiting in the shadows.
All right, so to everybody watching or listening to this later, thank you for checking out the show. For those of you in live chat, if you have some questions for Blake and Brent, please put them in all caps and we will try to get to your questions. But just know that we have them for about an hour and I have a lot of questions. We just basically finished up the UFO Endgame to Disclosure documentary. And I have some questions, and Michelle's going to be hardcore watching that chat room tonight. So, Michelle, what else do we got going on?
Oh, let's see. Well, just wanted to say that this podcast and live show happens because of you. So the viewers and the listeners of the show and your amazing support. So if you want to help support the podcast links are below in the show description with our PayPal, Patreon, Linktree that will take you to other ways to support the podcast, including the merch store. But one of the best ways that you can support this live show one of the best ways.
The damn best ways
is to like, share, and subscribe. So the more subscribers and support we have, the more incredible content we can bring to you, like the guests that we have tonight.
Absolutely. So, and just for some quick shout outs, we have to let our Patreon members know that they are very much loved. So, Hava H, this shout out's for you. And I did tell you today when I saw you that you were getting a shout out. So, Hava, thank you for supporting the show, and make sure you get on that homework. You know, you got homework to do for college. And then we have our Patreon members, Tabin R and Cheryl G. So thank you once again for your continued support and helping the podcast. But as Michelle said, one of the best ways to support our show is to like, share, and subscribe. So, and just really quick, next Saturday, there will not be a show as we will be going to a graduation for my middle child who is graduating high school, the one who did all of our artwork and what you see behind me over here. So yeah, it is her graduation. So we will not have a show next Saturday, but we will be back the following Saturday. And we have back the man, the myth, the legend, Stephen Bassett coming back on. I mean, talk about a quick turnaround. He wanted to come back on and talk about things going on, and I don't know what the new stuff is that's popping up at this point, but he was excited to come on and give us some information before Contact in the Desert 2023. So really excited to see what he's got to share with everybody. So, all right, Michelle, without further ado, are you ready?
It's about damn time.
It's about damn time we bring on the fine boys from Hawaii. Here we go. It is the Cousins brothers. How are you guys, Blake and Brent? Thank you for joining us.
Wayne, Michelle, hey, good to be with you guys. Brent's here too.
Yeah, aloha from Hawaii, guys.
Aloha.
Aloha, man. I wish we were there right now.
I know. All right. That's why I put it in my subject line.
So, you know, we got to go through the beginning of this. This is the first time we've had you guys on our show. We know you guys are huge documentary makers. You have one of the most successful shows on YouTube with Third Phase of Moon. But how did you guys get into making films and documentaries in the first place?
Hey guys, well, it's good to be on the show, and appreciate what you guys are doing and getting the word out. The language you guys are talking on your podcast is definitely very proper, and appreciate what you guys are doing. It takes some work and dedication, and even smaller channels and people that are getting into this field. Even at Third Phase Moon, we like to talk to pretty much everybody and who's open-minded and willing to take a look at the evidence. But yeah, as far as us getting into documentaries, it's interesting. It all started probably about 14 years ago when he met a person by Jim Martin, and he had his own sports company, and he opened up his own division into the UFO field. Basically, after watching Third Phase Moon, he says, there's a big market. Look at what Third Phase of Moon's doing. I need to get into making UFO documentaries. So Jim Martin at the time was a vice president of, it was called the Orchid the Orchard distribution, and later 1091. And he said, guys, there's something going on here in the streaming platform as far as high-end documentaries. You guys got to start getting on it with all your evidence that you have and the people and the connections you're making. You guys, I could get your word out and start distributing your documentaries if you guys start producing. We're like, well, this sounds like a pretty open invitation, especially with our background being in it so long. So we decided, let's jump into it. And our first documentary, we so happened to run across this gentleman by the name of Jim Channon. And Jim Channon lived on our island right here on the Big Island, about 35 miles away from us. And we said, wow, this Jim Channon is very interesting. They based the movie Who Saw the Men Who See Goats, right? The Men Who Stare at Goats. And
Stare
we're
at
like,
goats, yeah.
The Men Who Stare at Goats. And we're like, this Jim Channon, Jeff Bridges played his role. Let's go down and see what he's all about. So that was our first documentary called The First Earth Battalion, all about the whole CIA Stargate program and remote viewing and that phenomenon. It's interesting. We were the last to interview Jim Channon unfortunately, in the middle of filming, he passed away. But a few days prior to his passing, he was so happy with our rough cut, and he was so excited that the word was going to get out. And he was telling me, which was quite interesting. He says, there's a mothership outside my house and I'm going to be leaving soon. And, 3 days later, he passed. But
Wow.
so, with the success of First Earth Battalion, we jumped into our next project called Countdown to Disclosure. And this was during that worldwide, thing that was going on where everybody had to stay home, right? And, Dr. Greer ended up coming to Los Angeles, and we're talking to him about, hey, let's maybe if we could get a camera crew and get on location where you're at in Los Angeles, you mind if we do a sit down interview? And we conducted this kind of remotely. We're in Hawaii. We had our camera crew in Los Angeles, and we're asking questions, and we put this whole interview together with Countdown to Disclosure, along with some other people that we interviewed, like Michael Sala at the time, and we had Jim Goodall, who actually obtained Bob Lazar for on the record statement in regards to this New York Times article. And when we released Countdown to Disclosure, it was kind of this underground documentary with no advertising. All of our documentaries, we put zero advertising into to getting the word out on our documentaries. This is all just grassroots, and people just gravitate towards the subject matter. But we want to give it in a way that it's heavy hitting. We don't want people to turn away. Obviously, some of the information we're bringing forth, if you've been studying the field for 15, 10 years, maybe some of the stuff is not new to the professional insiders that study the phenomenon. But for the layman, the masses over there on Amazon, people really are learning a lot and getting their head around the whole aspect of not taking the major media's word for it. And some of these people that are taking this narrative that there's a threat, we got to build up our military, we don't know what it is. In our opinion, we think there is some kind of technology that somebody's cracked the code, and it's in our assets. And right now there's power, there's propulsion, and there's energy that is being suppressed. And we just watched a documentary the other night, kind of got a sneak peek at it. We got to see The Lost Century, Dr. Greer's new documentary that he's coming out with in about a month or so. And he really delves deep, even though we covered it in UFO Endgame and Above Top Secret, some of the suppressed technology and what happens to the people that create the technology and their demise in regards to some of their patents. But yeah, there's a lot on the table. There's so much evidence out there that our government is keeping secrets from us, and we could have been in a whole new paradigm, and it could have started 50 years ago.
Very interesting. So I want to back up for a minute, though. Didn't you guys make a horror film a long time ago that was recently re-released, collector's edition and all that? Was it Slaughter Day?
Oh, well, good call there. Most people will get that wrong, but yeah, absolutely. We started, working. We always wanted to, since we're kids, our parents, we begged them to get us a video camera. We were working with the Super 8 back in the time. I think our first Super 8 experience, we started filming when we were about 5 years old in 1975. And then begged our parents when the VHS came out if they could get it for us. And they certainly did. And we started making our little movies. Our first one was, we're trying to make a Raiders of the Lost Ark film. And we're like, after we looked at it, we're like, this doesn't look anything like Raiders of the Lost Ark. This looks really bad. What's going on here? Why doesn't it look that good? But, we fine-tuned our techniques. We brought in our friends from school, and growing up in Hawaii, it was kind of an interesting lifestyle, being pretty much the only two white kids in the school. So there was a lot of issues with being white here in Hawaii. People kind of know how it is if you're down here. But once you kind of hang in there, keep your chin up, and we started collaborating with a lot of local kids, and they just loved our little short films. The whole school would show up and gather around that little TV set and just have such a great time. So we made this series of movies called Slaughter Day. And, 31 years later, our featured length film got picked up by a distributor and called it one of the best horror shot on video movies ever made, remnants of the Evil Dead. And yeah, it has a really neat following, and with all the fans out there that begged us to maybe remake or reboot Slaughter Day. As a matter of fact, this past year we worked on our new reboot of Slaughter Day. It's called Day of the Wicked, and it took us about 3 months to make. We worked on it full time, and we put a lot of work into it. We're excited when we drop Day of the Wicked. It's going to be a lot of fun. But Slaughter Day, those techniques and making horror movies, making film is a passion of ours. But making documentaries are two different animals, so it's interesting. Brent.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. When we started Day of the Wicked, our friends, and I'm sure you might be aware of them, Doc Skinner and Paula Asteria.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, Doc's, he lives in Arizona. He says, man, guys, could I fly over and get a part in there? We're like, absolutely. And we got him playing the sheriff in town. And then while we're up in Hollywood Hills at our friend's place, we got a Paula Asteria to show up for a week, and we got a great part for her. So they're all sprinkled throughout the film. It's great working with these guys. And it's a collaboration. There's really no money put into this film. Is this all love? And everybody, took their time off that for those 2 months to come out and, pro bono this. And they really put out a really great effort in being first-time actors, patience, and all this stuff. And I think we turned out a great cinematic film for basically zero budget.
Well, that is awesome. And when you're telling that story, I think all of us at some point, if we had access to the technology of a VHS camera, or now with the cell phones, everybody is wanting to make videos. I remember as a kid, and one of my friends is watching, a childhood friend of mine. We used to put together these little mini horror films on a VHS camcorder. You're talking 86, 87 time frame. And one of the things that we did for a finale to the movie was my friend was being murdered. And what we did is we opened up his dining room table, and we had his legs sticking down through the bottom of the table, then him laying back on the table and then covered up with a sheet. And then we had all of this fake blood and guts and stuff spread all over the table with a pair of legs. So it looked like he was basically cut in half, and his legs were slid down the table. And his thing was that he was reaching into this bloody mess, which it wasn't. It was like candy and stuff.
Yeah,
and
you don't want to use real stuff.
eating.
It's disgusting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you want to have candy. Mm-hmm. We use Kool-Aid or Hershey's syrup, for like Hershey's strawberry syrup mixed in with little Hershey's chocolate. So on the scene, it smells great. It's like, here, put this in your mouth, and people are getting high off a sugar rush.
Yeah. Even my daughters, once they, when they were young and they had a cell phone, my middle child, her name is Abigail, and I was naming her after the King Diamond character, the heavy metal King Diamond, Abigail. And so they decided to make a black and white movie on their phones and put it all together on their little Fisher Price, like little thing we had for them. Was it a tablet or whatever? And they put together a little horror film where she was a ghost, and she had her hair like from The Ring and all this stuff. And here they are, they didn't watch those kind of movies, but they put something together like that. And they were maybe 7 and 12 or something like that when they put that together. It's just seems like we are constantly, even from an early age, wanting to do something like that.
Yeah, it's inspirational. You kind of like feel like you're in control. You're working on your idea, your kind of vision of what you want to put out, especially in narrative films. And it's exciting. It feels powerful. And what's amazing nowadays, especially like you're saying, this technology, 20, 15 years ago, it would cost at least $250,000 for the camera, and then another $250,000 for the steady cam, and then another $250,000 for the audio, and then another $250,000, maybe more, for the film cut. So it was all out of reach. But now it's insane that for $12,000 you're competing up against the big boys now, and that's exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool that the technology has been accessible to pretty much everybody now at this point to do something. I mean, Michelle and I are teachers and we're doing this stuff, with our time and on a shoestring budget, and but to be able to do that and talk to, 40,000 people on our podcast and all of that it's just amazing that just about anybody can have a voice. Now, what I do want to ask you is going from making like Slaughter Day and that feel of making that movie and then going into documentaries, do you guys have that same like feeling of this is really cool, this is exciting, or are you in a different mindset now of we should get out information to the public?
Well, when we're producing our documentaries and we're going across the country and asking certain individuals these questions that appear on the documentaries, it's an adventure in itself. It's very exciting. And when we put together and frame up our shots, we want to have that cinematic feel. And it's interesting when you watch some of our documentaries, we watch this and we go back and review our film kind of like a month or two later, kind of after we're done with the edit, we revisit the documentary and it almost plays out like a movie. It almost seems like it's make believe, but in reality, we're just asking questions and we're getting these answers. There's no scripting whatsoever, but it lays out in kind of a progression of a narrative film. But in fact, everything that these people are saying, they truly believe what they're saying, and it just plays out almost like a film, but it comes across as information documentary filmmaking at its best, in my opinion, when some of these people are bringing forth the information that's so important to everybody and they need to kind of wrap their head around it. Some of these documentaries that we do produce, there's so much information. Some people are telling us that they're watching it 5-6 times to kind of like ingest this, because there is a lot in there, and a lot of the information makes people angry too. And that's what we stated before releasing the film, that this is going to make people angry because of the information that we're talking about in regards to a better world that we could be in, and we're being suppressed from it.
Well said. I guess I'm not angry by watching the last one, the UFO Endgame. But I am very confused by a lot of things that Dr. Greer says. And one of the things that bothers me about some of the stuff that he says is, I guess over like the last 75, 78 years, the government's been working on this technology that, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm trying to put it in a logical sequence in my head. Sure. That we've been working on, or the stuff has been sequestered away, split up, Wright-Patterson, you name it, S4, Bob Lazar, all this stuff. But my thought process is that over the last 78 years, they've been working on this, and this black shadow government is working on this hidden technology. We could be in a much better place, but yet then he says that they're using it to create a alien attack kind of black false flag narrative. And I kind of get lost in where he goes sometimes, because like you said, I'm going to have to watch it again. There's so much information there, but I was just curious, like when he talks about whistleblowers and stuff coming forward, have you guys had whistleblowers that are hiding from the government with evidence, like physical stuff we could get our hands on and talk about this? That, to me, as a scientist, that would be something I would really want to know about. And so I'm just going to put that out there to you. Have you guys had people come to you that you think are legitimately whistleblowers trying to get you guys some straight up information about this?
Well, absolutely. There's calls, there's emails that come in, not every day, but every a year, once a year, we'll get somebody that comes forth that's worked within the military. A few guys that worked on the Navy ships, the
Nice.
Dubuque, a few others, and we don't hesitate to tell them, look, let's just get this up on Third Phase of Moon, and well, one of the reasons why they do reach out to us because they want to get the word out because we got this platform. But it amazes me that some of these whistleblowers way before any of this the New York Times article in 2017, people from the Navy were coming forward to Third Phase of Moon in regards to their experiences out there in the Pacific, resembling pretty much straight up what you're hearing with the Nimitz. But the world news only wants to talk about the Nimitz, the Tic Tac, and the Go Fest, and these stories that kind of go around in circles versus let's bring in more new blood, people that are willing to put their face forward, their names and their experiences. And we've had multiple whistleblowers on Third Phase of Moon come forth and have their testimony stated for the record. And we post it straight up. Again, when we receive the information, we don't want to sit on it like a lot of other people do. They kind of want to prolong their release for some odd reason. Our motto is when we get it, it's going to get out because we don't want to sit on the stuff that comes in. We think it's important, not just for the people around the world, but for the person that shot it and experienced it. And we think that's one of the most important things we do at Third Phase of Moon is create this this platform for people to share their footage. And if we deem it something that we can explain, that's kind of our goal here. If my brother and I can't explain what we're looking at, and let me tell you, we can pretty much look at a lot of stuff, and a lot of these videos will never be seen to the world because they're just mundane. There's nothing compelling about it. Our goal is when we put something up, we want to roll out CGI. We don't want to see any manipulation. And we also want to make sure that it's genuine footage, obviously. But when people come forth and you look at their channel, they're just random people, regular people that are in a perfect spot to experience the phenomenon. And there is no agenda. 99.9% of the people that shoot the phenomenon are just normal people that aren't even looking up in the sky. They're not UFO hunters. They're not looking for it. They're just, the world's a big place. And people are always having their cameras. And when they come across it, they shoot it. And these are just regular people, just like you and me, that come across it. And somehow, somewhere, I guess we've got the word out because we continue to get UFOs on a daily basis. Like today, we got 5-6 submissions. Even one has come in just a few minutes ago. Again, we look at them. If we can't explain it, you're going to see it up on Third Phase of Moon. But as far as Dr. Greer's idea about the false flag alien threat, Greer can speak for himself on that. And again, we're just asking questions and people are giving us the answers. Some people say, why don't you fact check this or fact check that? If we fact checked everything that Greer said, I don't think we would have a documentary that would come out for at least 20 years. There's just so much out there. But working with Greer, that being said, over the past 5 years, talking to him behind the scenes, hanging out with him in the desert over there at a CE5 event that he held, and continuing to speak with him, I could tell you that he's passionate about what he's saying, and he says a lot of stuff behind the scenes that are mind blowing. But to tell you this, Greer is very consistent on what he says. I've never seen him like flub. He names the names, he names the dates, the times, the places. That has a lot to say. If you were trying to be deceitful, why would he even be deceitful behind the scenes on a regular phone call between us? He believes what he says. And I think Greer's one of the forefront, the guys on the forefront of disclosure, especially what's coming up. Again, we've spoken to Michael Schrapp behind the scenes. Again, we just had an interview with Dr. Greer that was trending on iTunes. We put it up on his trending on Twitter. And, we posted it both of our channels. It's the word's getting out. What's coming up in June in DC, Schrad and Greer's told us about some of these whistleblowers that are going to come forward. So we're going to see new people once again. And again, you brought up, have you had any whistleblowers? I was thinking just recently that some of these interviews that we've done with these whistleblowers that worked within the Navy on 2 different incidents in regards to the phenomenon, I might make another re-upload and combine both of these testimonies together in just a little mini doc on Third Phase, because I think people need to see again that there are a lot of whistleblowers that are coming forward. But now that the laws change, I think we're going to get a lot more. This is something special, and there's going to be heavy drops in DC coming up. So just buckle up for that.
That's awesome. And I really like what you said about having these whistleblowers coming forward to you guys even before the 2017 release of the Go Fast, Tic Tac, and what was it, the Gimbal. Man, that's really, really cool that you were having people come forward. Now, I imagine for you it was a big shock to then see in 2017 what the Navy had released, was it not?
I was very underwhelmed. It wasn't a shock. It was an interesting headline that they said that they've captured UFOs and they don't know there's a phenomenon, we don't know what it is. That was compelling, but you know, the videos itself were very lackluster. The information behind it wasn't solid. We've spoken to Kevin Day in regards to the radar pickups on these apparently Tic Tacs moving at extraordinary rates of speed. But again, we don't have the data. He said that they were rated within 12 hours of this, so the data is not there. So we really don't have anything to fall back on except those videos. And those videos do not show any kind of indication, as even Michio Kaku states, which I'm kind of amazed that he did, saying that these videos prove 100% that these objects define the laws of physics, which is totally false. And it's way overrated. And I don't understand why Michio Kaku says that these videos prove that, because in reality, these videos don't prove much at all, except that they're released. But again, they're redacted, they're edited. We don't get to see the beginning, the end. There's so many questions behind it. Again, we don't know what they are. But again, the videos don't amount to much. I'd like to see a lot more. And I'm sure they've got it. According to Michael Schratt, they've got the high glossies, they got the 60 millimeter, they got the HD 22-minute videos. There's something out there, but are they going to ever show it to us? I don't think so. It's too national security. You know, let's just say if they did capture it, how are they going to roll it out? It's not that they can't do it. They're way too deep into the cover up. Unless they just come out and admit that, look, we held this from you for this long, for this purpose and this reason. But again, there's been a lot of lives lost. There's been a lot of cover up. There's been a lot of, some people say murder side, you know, wet works, all this kind of stuff in regards to patents, energy, the phenomenon. There've been a lot of nefarious things that have happened. So for them to come forward, there would be a lot of things that they would have to basically, I don't know. It's a little tricky in the position that they're in. Quite tricky.
Yeah, dangerous from the sounds of it too.
Okay, guys, got a question for you. With all of the passion, with the research and the documentaries, let's take it to a personal side. Have either one of you ever experienced any UFOs or paranormal phenomena experiences?
Well, sure, absolutely, 100%. Started out as we were at a young age. You know, the abduction phenomenon. We've never claimed that we've been abducted, but my brother and I, at 4 years old, we had these two little gray guys come into our room, and it was late at night. We're looking at them. We felt comfortable. They're pitter pattering around the bedroom. They had their little black jumpsuits. So when we saw that Skinny Bob video, I'm not saying it's legit or not, but I'm just saying that's what it looked exactly like that. And there's three of them in our room, and they're just looking at us. We felt safe. We don't know what's going on unless me and my brother experienced the same dream. I don't know. We both experienced it. We don't know what happened afterwards. Either we just kind of fell asleep. I don't remember, except that they're in our room and we're looking at them and we're like, wow, this is strange. And then the next morning we went to our parents and told them about these creatures and these things with big eyes and big heads that came in. So that phenomenon, as people say, it starts out as a young childhood. I got to say, it happened with us. So that was interesting. But we've had some really amazing UFO encounters. And one of them happened as of the most recent was on our birthday. What was it? 2010, December 30th. A friend of ours well, not so much a friend, kind of an acquaintance. We live in a rural community here on the Big Island, and he runs this little sweet potato farm in the middle of nowhere. And he knows that we're filmmakers, we've got camera equipment, and we have our third phase moon channel. So he cold called us out of the, and I didn't know, we didn't know him that well, but he says, "Look, guys, there's been some action over my farm over the past week. You guys got to bring your cameras with you." And we're like, "Well, sure, we'll come down." And it was on our birthday. So we met Eric and his wife, Eric and Janelle Beach, and another fellow showed up, our classmate. His name was Jesse Kunishigi. And we're interviewing him. And, it was about 8 o'clock at night. And the couple were very happy that we're there because you could tell that they were traumatized about something, that they were experiencing something that was actually traumatizing them. They're worried. These guys are like adults, and they seem like little children, and they're just really happy that we're there, that they're comforted just by us being out there with them in this sweet potato farm at 8:30 at night. All of a sudden, Eric goes, "Look, look." And, ever since right at that happened, what hit the fan? Basically, we didn't know what to expect, but we saw these lights descending down upon us. And then it revealed itself to be this massive black triangle. We had no idea what to expect. The guys, they didn't even see anything this big. And Janelle says, it wasn't like this before. These lights were swirling around the tips of this triangular craft. You had to actually spin your head about 180 to see it in the sky. It's approximately, I'd say, no more than 250 feet above us. And it took your whole neck span to look at from one direction to the other. And this sighting lasted for over 4.5 minutes. It was descending down upon us. Jesse Kunishigi, for some reason, brought his gun. We're like, "Why are you bringing a gun here?" He says, "I don't want to get abducted." This is before the thing was above us. And then he's actually has his camera up on it, and then he has his hand on his gun about ready to shoot at this thing. Thank God he did it. But these are things that lead us again. We're not saying these are ET by any means. Now, after what is it, 13 years later, I believe that this was something that was ours, but there's magnetic in the air, is unbelievable, hovered upon us, and then slowly drifted over towards the north. Over Waipio Valley, and we just watched the back of it as it's like drifting over the plains, and it looked straight up like a Close Encounter movie. It was unbelievable. It was one of the best birthday presents you could ever imagine, and I wish I could go back to that day. As far as filming it, we did, but the footage just in 2010, we didn't have the night vision and we didn't have the psionics. You're shooting a black sky. It doesn't look like much. You just had to see it to behold it. The video shows 3 lights. Who cares? And with a black background, so it's not worthy of anything except that if you're there. I wish we could go back now with our sensitive equipment, and we would have rocked the world with it. That video. It was just absolutely amazing and spectacular. But we've had a few other UFO experiences, absolutely, to the phenomenon. As far as ghosts are concerned, we live in Hawaii. It's a spiritual spot. We made a movie called The Night Marchers based on the local legend, which was a big box office blockbuster here in the state of Hawaii. We sold out crowds for five times a day, 7 days a week throughout the state. It was kind of a dream come true watching one's film get that much praise. It was like, I haven't seen those kind of lines since the Star Wars movies. So that was amazing. And we called it The Night Marchers, and it's based on this local legend of ghosts. And they're apparently warriors for the king, and dead warriors. And if you ever come across them and look at them in the eye, you'll never be seen again. And one of the only ways you could survive is lay down, take your clothes off, lay down naked, and don't look up at it. This is a legend. This is real serious business. And since those days, a lot of people have come up to us and told us about the legend. Have we experienced the Night Marchers ourselves? Not necessarily, but we may have caught it while we're filming it. At one point, we're looking over the footage and we're like, wow, what is that in the background? Apparently, these night marchers walk around with torches at night, these Hawaiian warriors with torches, and you see streams of them, like hundreds of them, along these old trails. And we picked up on something on the video that looked rather suspicious, and you could like the weather, the air around us turned cold, and it was just a very weird situation. But the UFO phenomenon, I could say 1,000% there's something up there that we can't explain, whether it's ET or not. We don't have the answers. That's what we're trying to find out.
Yeah. It's funny how you talked about you and your brother having that experience when you were young. I did not have any kind of UFO or alien experience while I was young. I know Michelle hasn't either, but in 2018, we were driving home and basically went under one of these giant triangles that was floating above an intersection of the freeway we were trying to go home on, and a road that we were driving on. And the thing was at least 300 feet on a side. And the last thing we thought about was any kind of snapping a picture. And when I think about what it is that we saw, it was three bright lights, but what was strange about them was they were the brightest thing in the sky at 2:30 in the morning, even though it was only maybe hovering about 150 feet above the ground. But the lights were not illuminating anything underneath it, but we could see the lights. It was the strangest thing. It made no sound. Michelle put the window down and she's like, nope, it's dead quiet. When did our military get something like this? And I was like, that's not our military. There's no way. They wouldn't be flying it 12 miles north of Detroit over a suburb, and it's just sitting there. And then when we went under it and I looked up out of the driver's side, because I was basically told, you guys don't belong here, get away, you don't belong here. And I looked up as we were circling underneath it to get on the expressway to head away from it, and the body of it looked like it was similar to heat mirage over blacktop. And now once again, Michelle has a master's degree in English language arts and literacy.
I was hanging out the window like a little kid watching this thing.
Yeah. And
Nice.
I have a degree in earth and space science, and that's what I teach. I have a bachelor's in that, and geology as well. And everything that we knew, just kind of like when it came to this stuff, was like, what the hell was that? Now, I had some health issues and stuff later, but one of the things that we did was start a private Facebook group asking people if they saw this thing the same night and around the same time. And it was a private Facebook group. We didn't put it out there or nothing. People just kind of found it and asked to join. We're at like 6,400 people now on this Facebook group, and we're getting all kinds of information. Well, about a year went by and we were at like 3,000 people. And I said, Michelle, maybe we need to talk about this and bring people on to talk their stories to everybody and get it off their chest. And that was in early 2021, like February, beginning of March was like our very first show. And we've been going nonstop with these things, all the way looking at and having on Jack Bouchon from Unsolved Mysteries about the Michigan UFOs. And we just found out, like, all of these people and these situations that have happened with UFOs here in Michigan, UAPs, whatever the case may be. And it has been really shocking how it's been very, very quiet since the 1966 when it comes to the 1966 UFO flap here in Ann Arbor and Dexter area around Hillsdale College. And there's definitely something going on, but it also shows like the power of the media, because once Hynek kind of put the swamp gas hypothesis out there, everybody kind of laughed at a whole like half a state of people and dismiss them. And it went dead quiet after that, even though all of these things were happening. So I was wondering, like, when it comes to like Michigan UFOs, and if you've seen that Something in the Sky not documentary, but that episode on Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix, when it comes to Michigan, have you guys looked at any kind of UFOs or the hot spot that is Michigan here?
Yeah, we did watch that Netflix Unsolved Mysteries, and I'm glad Unsolved Mysteries is back covering the UFO
Absolutely.
topic because they're doing really high end, and it's a template, and we try to keep up to a template like that, and they do absolutely amazing work, and bringing forth the eyewitnesses and the testimony and how they corroborate one another's story is absolutely phenomenal. I could do a quick search on third phase moon. I'm sure we've got UFO sightings out of Michigan. We get them from all over. As specifically, it's really great too because you guys witnessed it as well. It sounds exactly like the same thing we witnessed. One quick question, you know, on the tips of the triangular craft, there were like these escorting orbs that was doing rotations around the tip of it on the right and left hand side. Is absolutely amazing to witness. It kind of like highlighted the triangular craft itself. The lights connected to it really didn't like you say sheen on the under bottom or give it shape, but these escorting lights on the tips were kind of helped it reveal itself because it was night. Very interesting, and I'm glad that it's amazing that the phenomenon of the triangular craft, we've seen it with our own eyes. You've seen it. We know it's real, and a lot of people, it's just amazing. There's technology out there. Again, do you think it was ET or do you think it was military?
I honestly don't know, because if it was military, being a former military person myself, I would be extremely upset that they were testing or flying these kind of craft over. I mean, we're in a suburb of Detroit. It's packed with people around here, and
Mhm.
it would be, and we got airliners flying all over the place out of Detroit metro here. It would be very, very dumb for them to be flying a craft like this just for a few of us on the expressway, at 2:30 in the morning to see it and know we were not on drugs according to certain people or
See,
whatever.
around Michigan, we have a lot of air shows too, especially out of
Mhm.
Willow Run, and that's a big thing around here. So to have what we saw as a triangle, I don't know. I feel if the military actually did have one of those, they would want to almost show it off like they did the stealth. Because I remember seeing stealth for the first time when I was a teenager in the parking
But the
lot at
stealth,
Service
but this thing,
Merchandise.
the propulsion technology behind it is absolutely totally different from a stealth. So if you show the stealth and it's got like a turbine rocket engines behind it, then there's that form of propulsion. But this is at a whole different level. So if they're going to roll out their triangular craft, they're going to have to say what's running it. They can't just say here it is and we can't tell you how. There would have to be some kind of disclosure on this kind of technology. They might be rolling it out soon, just due to the fact of this tic tac possible threat that the narrative is going by, because all they want to do is rack up the funds for their technology to defend against it. And maybe they're going to go, look, we came out with something that we could defend against it. And that's how they might slowly roll out this kind of propulsion that seemingly defies the laws of physics. Again, I say seemingly defies the laws of physics because there's no such thing as anti-gravity. It's just, it appears to be anti-gravity. Gravity really doesn't exist. Everything's just kind of falling at the same time. This is
Yep.
technology that we may have not cracked, but it's not defying any laws of physics. It's just we haven't figured it out, or have we, is the question. But being in close encounter to this thing that night, like I said, the guy that with the gun, he cleaned up his act. He was kind of like a little troublemaker in town, but he got off drugs. He cut his hair. He totally
Wow.
changed his life the day afterwards. And since that time, it was kind of every time we drive by that place, we're just go back to that amazing experience, and we wish it could happen again. We loved it. We're like screaming, like I was screaming like a little girl. It was just I was like the giggle factor was just so exhilarating. Other people were afraid because it was getting closer. At one point, I'm like, okay, is this thing going to do something? Because it kind of descended down upon us. Little concerning for a split second, but most of it, 95% of it, was just super joyful and the euphoric. It was just absolutely amazing. I would love to have that happen again. But it was interesting because these people called us to that one spot and we were there. It knew that we were there. It came by because they knew that we were there, and nobody was around for miles. It's interesting that it happened over at your spot with a big population over there. in Michigan. So, and then you have how many people? 6,500 people confirming that they saw it on that date.
Well, no, we've
big.
had up to 6,500 people join our group, and many of them, at least 50% of them, have shared their stories with us, like 3,000 stories of different things. And on top of, we did have people come forward and say on that night they saw something exactly like that, but in different locations. And then we come to find out that we have people, and we've had some of them on our show, that had seen the same exact thing, but at different times of the year and different years, like 1994. Even though that was a huge time over on the west side of the state by Lake Michigan and Holland, and that's what the Unsolved Mysteries show was about. On the east side of Michigan, people were seeing these giant triangles, and they were being pursued by fighter craft and dispatched from the local Air National Guard base here in southeast Michigan. And the thing would just zip away, like as our one friend who came on the show and described seeing it shoot away was like Star Trek. He said it just kind of elongated and was gone, and the F-16s that were after it were in full afterburner, and he's standing there basically getting ready to go to work and having a cigarette, and hear these jets go over and seeing this craft take off. It was, you know, and he had there was no like doubt in his voice of what he had seen and what was going on. I find that the commonality with the way that the lights work in the corners of being super bright, but they have some kind of control over the light actually illuminating things on the ground. Like, because they should have been spotlights. You should have the whole ground. Yeah, the whole ground underneath this thing should have been illuminated like it was daylight, and it wasn't, which was really, really creepy. And I wish we could have an experience that was more gleeful like yours, but it was not. I was in terror. Like when I heard that voice in my head telling me, you know, you don't belong here, get away, you don't belong here. It was like, oh no. You know, I pushed the Jeep to the max at that point, which, you know, a Jeep is a brick on four wheels. It doesn't go that fast.
Not me. I was curious. So I would have hoped that we would have seen it longer than we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, people have their own ways of experiencing the phenomenon. Absolutely. It's interesting. Cigarette smokers is bad for your health, I guess, but it's amazing that most of these people that have their sightings, along with their testimonies, like, oh, I was outside smoking a cigarette and then this popped up. So it's interesting. These people are a lot of these people smoke cigarettes that are citing this because they're outside. But that being said, just recently we had a couple F-22 Raptors fly directly over our house, and we reported on Third Phase of Moon. We speculated that they're engaging something, but we couldn't confirm it. But we posted it up on Third Phase of Moon that there's something very strange going on our island, because the direction of these F-22 Raptors, they never ever come over this area of the Big Island. So we knew it was something unusual, being here for, I don't know, 40 years now, approximately. So it turns out after we reported it took 4 days later till the major media picked up on the story, and they claimed they're the first ones to break it. But they were indeed chasing something over the state of Hawaii. They call it a balloon, but then they say they don't know what it is. So in my opinion, that's a UFO. If you don't know what it is, don't call it a balloon, because if it's a balloon, then just call it a balloon. So their language is a little off and a little second stepping their own dialogue there. But that being said, we did speak to a pilot that day during the Raptor engagement, that there's 4 Raptors involved in this, but 2 of them within 20 minutes of each other. And we reported this first on Third Phase Moon, talking to this other pilot that was, he was training a pilot to become a pilot. He's training somebody to become a pilot on his Cessna. And he was able to be so close to the airport, he picked up on the chatter between Tower and these 2 F-22 Raptors. And within 20 minutes of each other, well, one Raptor declared an emergency landing, and then 20 minutes later, a second F-22 Raptor declared an emergency landing going on fuel. I asked them, is this unusual? Absolutely, it is. Two F-22 Raptors within 20 minutes on that incident declared an emergency to land in Hilo Airport right here on our island. I'm not saying this as I'm just saying this as speculation. That I got a feeling, you know how some of these pilots say that these UFOs or UAPs are messing with their instruments. Again, I'm just speculating here, but it is very bizarre. Again, two emergencies. We were the only ones that reported this on Third Phase Moon. The major news hasn't picked it up on it, but we did confirm it with the pilot himself. That was listening to the chatter that this went down. So who knows? Maybe there was some interference with these. Are they going to tell us this on national news that this UFO or this thing is messing with our F-22s? Of course not. So they're downplaying it. They're not telling us the full story. That's something we're just trying to go after. It's regrettable after 14 years here at Third Phase that nobody has given us any solid proof. You know, a lot of videos, great videos from around the world, but it's just not enough. We need like tangible evidence. There was one time we were called into this apparent secret facility. I think it was in Chicago somewhere, Illinois. He invited us from Hawaii to show up to this facility that they're working on some kind of propulsion technology in regards to this flying saucer that they were developing, and then they're going to release it to the world. And they wanted our help in regards to how they're going to strategically put this out by being safe, and they could not stop it. And the game plan is they're going to release these vehicles in different parts of the world, England, America, Spain, and all these different continents and countries. And they had like 6 prototypes, and we're getting really excited that we're going to show up, we're going to film this stuff. But you know, that communication blocked off, and we never heard from them. So there's these like close calls that you get, and still, unfortunately, we're waiting for that metamaterial, or if somebody's got that metamaterial in their closet. We were the last to speak to Marcel Jr. over there in regards to his father showing him the metals over there after the Roswell crash, and Marcel Jr. said he played with the metal. So people still speculate, and even Michael Stratt believes that people over there in Roswell have the material tucked away, and they're just afraid to put it out there. But you know, it's a sketchy situation if you had something like this. But we're looking for that evidence as well. We put out $1 million reward for any kind of metamaterial like that, or $1 million reward if you have like an alien anything. But you know, are we going to get it? Is anybody going to collect on it? I don't know. We'll wait and see on this. But it's a phenomenon it's hard to obtain, and you know, video evidence is one thing, but we're going to need people within the government to help us out, and we're in close communications with Tim Burchett over there in Congress, Tennessee. Tim Burchett, and he's one of these forefront leaders that is speaking again the proper language. You don't hear politicians talking like Congressman Tim Burchett, and when we interviewed him, he's talking about the cover-up. He's talking about the blackmail cover-up in regards to these politicians that have dirt on them. They're too afraid to come forward because they're going to be blackmailed. It's a blackmail business.
Well, that can be tied into maybe even some of that island experience that was going on.
I was going to say that. Exactly. The same island, that island experience may have implicated a lot of people, and maybe that's what it was designed for. Most likely it was.
It's very possible. I mean, you know, these people.
That island guy didn't take himself out either, in my opinion, but that's another story.
Nope, I don't think so. But you know, as we get closer here to having to let you guys go, one of the questions I wanted to ask you was about ufology being infiltrated by like disinformation agents, you know, whether they're government or they're somebody else, and kind of going a little bit about the F-22s, about 2 of them having to make emergency landings. And I know Jeremy Corbell has said that, you know, almost on a daily basis, we are engaging and shooting at some of these craft, you know, probably with our primitive weapons, or so he says. So what kind of evidence have you guys found, or information you've been told about what's going on in ufology with certain individuals? And are we really shooting at these things?
It's a good question. It's interesting. Some of these talking heads on these major TV shows and the people that are talking to the major media, they're all alphabetically, FBI, CIA, they're all connected to alphabet agencies. And that to me is a major indicator that the government is involved specifically to infiltrate the UFO community and spread disinformation. It's very bizarre. Some of these guys at Skinwalker turn out that they're just not just researchers, but actually worked within alphabet agencies. This is very, very concerning to me. And some of these statements put out by people saying that we're shooting them out of the sky every day, I'd sure like to see evidence of that. Obviously, over regions of war, where war's happening, there are drones that are put up in the sky by the enemy, and people are going to shoot down unknown objects. A UFO doesn't mean they're ET in nature. So are we shooting down unknown objects, UFOs? Of course we are. But to state it that it is ET in nature and these things are again, once define the laws of physics or these extraordinary videos, these videos that are being brought forth in regards to some of those statements that you said are not bringing any information that is proving their statements. So again, we got to be real cautious about how we have our verbiage, especially if you don't have the proof to back it up. And that's why we're not saying we're experts or we're ufologists on third phase moon on any of this stuff. We're just experts at getting the information and putting it out as fast as possible. That's where we come in. So we're not making grandiose statements, but we are asking big questions. And some of the people that we ask questions of these big questions, we do get these big statements, which is interesting. That's the excitement of the field. But once again, are we shooting these things out of the sky every day? I highly doubt it. If they came all the way from another cosmos, another galaxy, and to visit Earth, that we have the technology to shoot these things down. I highly doubt it.
Welcome to Earth, guys. Here, we're gonna shoot at you. I know Michelle's got
yeah, we
one
have to
quick one
ask
for you.
I have to ask the signature question. Do you have any ties to Michigan?
Do we have any ties to Michigan? We actually do have family in Michigan, it turns out. It's very interesting. We're not going to get into too much detail, but yeah, our dad's side of the family, I think our grandfather had a different, he had two separate lives, two separate families. And some of our family lives in Michigan as we speak, and we've never actually met up with them, but we do have ties in Michigan.
All right.
Some cousins, actually.
Well,
not the last name cousins, but real cousins that we haven't met that just so happened to be our relatives. And we just found that out a few years ago. So we might do some kind of family reunion at one time.
Awesome. That's
in a state surrounded by water, you'll feel right at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We like the bodies of water. That's for sure. Man, we're in the middle of nowhere out here. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's hard to think of, being on an island, but you're in the middle of nowhere. It's
the cleanest skies in the world, though. It's amazing, and
yeah,
it's just absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you, we've had a couple of people that we've interviewed from the UK, and you guys out there on Hawaii have got some incredible internet, because we haven't had one issue like we've had with people from the UK. So it sounds great, and it's worked great. So just before you take off, where can people find your videos? I mean, I put some links down in the show description, and what new stuff you got coming up that people might be interested in looking for.
Well, absolutely. Hey, thanks for having us on. UFO Endgame, to disclosure, our latest documentary, is making the top spots on Amazon and iTunes. It's crazy. It's just my brother and I working on it. It's like it's just two of us going across the country asking these questions, and we put it together. Again, no advertising, and we're able to take the number one slots on Amazon and iTunes. It's absolutely incredible. We're going up against Academy Award filmmakers right here, and some of the big topics of the world, and UFO Endgame's taking the top spots. It's quite humbling. So that's available right now, iTunes, Amazon. I'm sure you got the Genius link below. And again, we're always posting the newest, latest, up-to-date UFO, the phenomenon, from the people from around the world on our Third Phase of Moon YouTube channel. And we're always excited to put those out and give credit where the credit's due. We just put up a video of something. I'm not sure if it's a TR-3B, but it looks to us like a triangular craft captured in Spain. We received the video 2 days ago. We put it out last night, and it's night vision footage. Quite incredible video coming out from Spain. His name was Edwin. So we're always happy to deal with the public from around the world. And next, we're going to be traveling again across the country, starting this next month, early next month, and we'll be out for a whole month, heading to DC. We're going to be meeting up at the National Press Club, and we're going to be working on our latest documentary. We got some insight to some lawmakers in Congress, and hopefully we're working out with the Senate and ask some big questions and maybe present some of the evidence that we've obtained and some of the people that we've spoken to and see where they'd like to take that. So that's going to be an exciting year. Some of these whistleblowers are going to come forward. We're going to have access to those guys, and it's going to be something to behold. Whether we're going to get disclosure, I'm not going to predict the future, but I got a feeling we're going to be a lot more aware of what's going on, and the fight for disclosure is stronger than ever.
Yeah. Michelle, did you want to throw something else in there? Or?
No, I was telling
Okay.
you, Richie just sent you a message in chat.
Oh, he
Said
did?
He needs a link.
Okay. So Richie's going to join us after the break here and after
great.
you guys leave. So guys, for you leaving, I do want to play the trailer and we bought this just last night.
And loved seeing Jim Goodall there. What a great guy.
Our good friend.
Didn't he
Jim
look like
Goodall.
a president or a senator?
He
We're
does.
like, when we're filming them, we're like, damn, you should be president, Jim. You're
I know.
looking good,
tie.
stud.
Well, and when we saw him, the last time that we saw him, it was like, a sweatshirt or just a normal shirt, and he's got a suit on. I'm like,
yeah,
what's Jim doing in a suit?
Right. Not what is Jim doing in a documentary? It's what is Jim doing in a suit? Yeah, we saw him right before they left for Brazil, and then Belize, and I couldn't go with them on this first expedition, so I was kind of behind the scenes trying to coordinate secret satellite imagery, and I'm not going to say much more about that, but so I was kind of on the stateside. But all right, before you guys go, everybody check this out. This is the latest documentary from the Cousins brothers. It is UFO Endgame to Disclosure, and we bought it last night, and we absolutely dug it.
It's a damn fine documentary.
It's a damn fine documentary.
All right. Hey, appreciate that. Turn it up.
It's a mind-blowing situation. For the public, it's like, a conspiracy theory, it's entertaining. But if you're actually in a responsible position and you find out that there's a whole secret government program that you don't know about, it's a shock.
This report comes from a shadowy Pentagon department that was shut down in 2012.
The disclosure movement has been hijacked by people parroting the narrative and the script being written by these black projects. I would say 90+% of everything that's going to come out is false.
The most widely seen UFO right now is not alien, it's actually ours.
It's a great cover story for all kinds of criminal activities. Blame it on the aliens, right?
If we are being visited by interdimensional beings, we should know about it.
This has the big disadvantage of the truth being much more unbelievable than the fiction.
It's the crash retrievals that are the Rosetta Stone for solving the UFO cover-up.
The implications of this is the difference between extinction level civilization versus one that's going to take off to the stars.
Oh, what the hell?
Right on. UFO Endgame.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Hey, I wanted to let everybody know, too, our first documentary, Countdown to Disclosure. This is basically UFO Endgame's our trilogy. But our first one, Countdown to Disclosure, it's available for free. It just dropped 2 days ago on YouTube on the Unidentified channel. So you search Countdown to Disclosure. It's for free for everybody to watch. and hopefully everybody enjoys that as well. Guys, Wayne, Michelle, appreciate you guys having us on. Had a really good
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you very much, guys. And if you ever want to come back on here at any point and promote some new shows and movies, whatever, you need a couple extra. Michelle's got some acting background,
I
you know,
seriously.
and
Hey,
I look
Wayne.
like a good killer, so I could, you know.
Hey, yeah, it'd be kind of fun. We'd like to send you the sneak peek of For Your Eyes Only to Day of the Wicked, just for you to check it out and get
Oh,
some opinions on it, huh?
Sounds good to
absolutely.
me.
Yeah.
You guys in
Awesome.
for a good horror of a time?
I love horror films.
Yeah,
Oh,
Michelle's
great.
into it much more than I am, but I like the more psychological thriller brain
This has
type
a little
things.
bit of that. It has a little
Okay.
bit. It has a little bit of everything.
Hey, if
And,
you send it to us, we'll watch it. So for sure.
Great. Okay, we want to get a review. We'll hold it to you for
All
just
right.
behind the scenes. But yeah, we're excited
Yeah.
to put that out. Hey guys, appreciate it once again. Say hi to Rich over there at GoofOn coming on the show right after this, and good to see everybody in the chat. Thanks for having us once again. Keep your eyes on the skies, everybody. Be safe.
Absolutely. Thank you. Ooh, Michelle. My heart's fluttering. So, man, they were absolutely great. What do you think?
It was a great interview. Would have been nice if we were able to get them on video. I saw, in chat at the beginning, like,
Yeah.
where's the video? It would have been nice. Smoochie asked, do the two of us agree with everything that with the guests that we get on? So, and I
Not necessarily. We all,
Yeah.
you know what, the big
there might
thing with
be
this,
like little bits and pieces,
yeah, well, the
that I
big
might
thing with
disagree
this
with.
phenomenon is that everybody has like their own experiences and they're different. And, all the way from the craft looking different. Now, is that something that these things are able to project into our mind and change a little bit so nobody's exactly the same? I mean, no. And as for us always agreeing with our guests, no, that's not what we do. We have our own belief system and our thoughts about ufology and what's going on in the field, and we take a little different tack to it. But really, we're really just wanting to get people to come on and tell their stories, and
I think in a sense it's about being polite and allowing people to share their stories. But like I said earlier in the chat, when Guy and I were having a conversation, we have a very narcissistic government. So I truly feel that if this was a government craft, they would have shown, I just feel that they would have shown it off. Like, look, my toy is bigger than yours.
Yeah. And they do that. And that's what counterintelligence people do. They spend their time researching what other countries have militarily and technology wise and report that back. So if we were working on something like a TR-3B and we had this stuff working, I mean, to fly it clandestine like, but yet want to be seen by people, that would get reported back to, let's say, China, and they would instantly start working on this kind of stuff. So why even bother keeping it secret? It's like Michelle said, the bigger dudes want to flex their muscles and go, if you come over here and you try to mess with us, this is what we've got coming for you next. And generally that,
and like I said, the only reason that I brought up the stealth fighters is because at the time they were very new, they were very secret,
and they were crashing.
Yeah, and they were crashing, and my father and I just happened to be coming out of a service merchandise, so that tells you how long ago this was.
Yeah.
And could hear this loud rumbling and saw this craft, or I mean the stealth go right over us.
Yeah.
We knew that there was an air show in the area, so again, it was like, look at my toy. It's bigger than yours.
Yep. All right. So chat, hold steady here for about 4 minutes. We're going to help a couple local businesses here. Well, one local business and Contact in the Desert. And then we're going to take a 3-minute break. And we'll be right back. And Rich should be joining us from Goof On. Thank you, everybody. Hang tight.
Traveling near New Boston, Michigan? Hungry? Well then, you need to check out New Boston Coney and Grill tucked away at 37005 Huron River Drive. With daily specials, homemade soups and desserts, and a staff that makes you feel like family, you will not be disappointed. Give them a try for dine-in or carry-out at 734-606-5313. You can find their page, including their menu, on Facebook. Bon appetit!
The 9th Annual Contact in the Desert Conference happens the weekend of June 2nd at the beautiful Renaissance Resort near Palm Springs, California. Join me, George Norrie, to discover what's next from speakers such as Graham Hancock, Richard Dolan, Nick Pope, Stephen Bassett, and over 50 other top researchers. Come make contact with new friends and discover the latest fascinating information from the fields of UFO studies, artificial intelligence, psychic phenomenon, and more. Reserve your seat now at contactinthedesert.com.
3 minutes left, everybody. Just 3 minutes. Two minutes left, everybody. Get ready. 2 minutes. One more minute and we are back. One more minute. All right, everybody, we're back. Hey, everybody. Woo, what a show. What a show. It was such an intense show. Michelle had to step out for a little bit, so I need somebody to help back everything up and keep things going here. And I know somebody is joining us, a very good friend of ours, somebody that actually helped us get things set up so we could get the Cousins brothers on here. So hats off to him, and I'm glad he's back from the dead. Richie, we're here.
Waiting for that guy to show up, man.
What is going on, my friend? How are you?
Recovering, doing well. How do I sound? Okay.
Perfect.
It just sounds weird in my head. I feel like I'm in a box. But doing
up my speakers a little bit. I'll turn them down. And...
Oh no, it's all right. Oh, all right. Maybe it was that. But no, doing well. I back on regular food for almost 8-9 months. I was just on basically 85% liquid diet, and now I don't even like the taste of that stuff I was drinking. They did something to me. Is that Boost? Yeah, like Boost and Ensure, whichever one was on sale. So yeah, doing good though. How are you?
Oh man, hanging in there and trying to get my blood pressure to come down a little bit after talking to two of the nicest guys in this field, man. That
was a good interview. Yeah, that was fun. Even though I've heard them and I talk to them and hear the same thing over and over, I don't know. I'm just sitting there going, yeah. It's like, oh yeah, it's Brent and Blake. I know.
Yeah.
It was a good interview.
Well, thank you. Of course, we didn't get to like half of the questions that I had typed up, but that's how these things always go. So what?
It was great.
What happened to you, man? What did they figure out? What was wrong when?
I'm diabetic, so I don't eat 100% perfectly. Although I do eat okay. I don't do the fast food thing anymore, and
you're very active. I mean, you work out like every day. You're kind of like me in those regards.
Yeah, I think they call it digestivitis, something like that. It was the inflammation of your organs, your digestive organs, to be more exact.
Okay.
And it's like an infection, but it isn't. It's just they get inflamed and they get irritated with the more acidic food you eat, which makes no sense because this happened almost 2 months to the day back on my birthday in March. And I thought I was over it. So if I was eating really well, what am I going to do now? I mean, is it going to come back? So the doc said, no, I'm going to heal you. You're going to be fine, but you need to see a primary care physician. Just keep on it. Stay on top of things, make sure everything's on the up and up. They put the scope down me, up me, in me. And they said, there's nothing wrong, nothing bleeding, nothing cut, so I'm on the mend and obviously I feel better. Just, I want to get back in the gym. I don't have a lot of body fat. So when you're not there doing when you're laying in bed for 5 days, for me anyway, it deteriorates your muscle.
Yes.
Because I was throwing up and, my body was going through a lot. So I lost probably 10%, and that's a lot if you think about it. It was like a whole 5-6 weeks of workouts. I'm so pissed, So anyway, we want to live, right? That's the goal in life. We want to stay healthy. And believe me, I don't care how much money you have. If you're not alive to have fun with it, what's the use?
That's it. And I've heard somebody say that we are the only animals on the face of this planet who like to bargain with the future. How do you know what that future is going to bring?
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
It really we're so smart, we're stupid.
Yeah. I don't see our cats sitting here, going, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to start that treadmill.
The movie Forrest Gump made me realize that's how you need to go through life. Just like he did. Whatever happens, you just go with it, man. Make the best of it. All right, that's great. Everything's good, and everything just works out for the guy.
Yep, absolutely. So what do you got new coming up, man? What's going on? Now that you're back and you're mending, you got some shows coming up? What's up?
Well, I have a show tonight. I put one up. It's because I didn't talk about anything all week, right? So I just wanted to talk tonight and just shoot the breeze and just get some things off. And one of the haters did something so unbelievably disgusting. I have to talk about it, and it's bad. It doesn't get any worse than what he did. That's how bad it is. And it's the main
for
one.
you to even want to talk about it, I mean, usually you leave things go unless they kind of strike first. And
yeah. I'm not even. I can't. It's so disgusting and low and over the line. It's like it's like surreal that it even happened, that he even did a show like that. It's amazing that YouTube even allowed that even to stay up. But I guess nobody's complaining about it because, hate is good for some people. It's really a sick and twisted individual.
Wow.
And I'll be talking about that. Yeah, it's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. Good
so
time.
we know what we'll be watching at 10:30 tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or 11. I changed the time to 11. How you doing, Michelle?
Good. It's nice to see you back on air.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's good to be back here too.
You sound good.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm almost there. Almost there. Tomorrow I'll be there. 100%.
100%.
Now, talking about working out all the time and stuff, have you ever measured your body fat content, what you're at?
Sure. Oh, I had to. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you at right now?
If I was to hedge a bet, the last time I checked was just before my birthday, and I was at 14%.
Oh, okay.
I usually like to be around 10.
Yeah, and usually bodybuilders will compete at about 5%. And
3 to 2.
Well,
and 1. Yeah, they really
they're
do.
close to death at that point.
Yeah, but they've come a long way with their techniques, man. It's amazing. Yeah. It's disgusting. Yeah. I would never go that. That's so extreme. It's like that's surreal to me. I stand next to those people, and I feel like I haven't even worked out. I have that body dysmorphia. They call it. They call it big smorphia or something like that. It's a new term where I see myself as skinny no matter how big I get. Oh. And yeah, it's a thing that happens with bodybuilders, and it's just our own mind playing tricks on us. It's the reverse of the people think they're big.
Yeah, the anorexic, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Or bulimic, right?
Or bulimia is I guess that's side effect of that's, man, I found a lot of great new ways to upchuck.
Yeah, I was watching your show last night, and Michelle's like, nope, I'm walking away on this one.
Yeah.
And we just got done having a big steak dinner and everything. And
I don't blame you.
You started talking about that.
It's like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go into the full evil showing you how it worked, but man alive, I'm so sore today still, this side of my throat from my finger, because I had a nail that grew really quick and I kept jabbing myself in that little punching bag back there and all that. So I think I injured it a little bit, but I cut the nail off and then I was fine to go hack again. But it was pretty brutal. Never again, hopefully not.
Yeah.
You're lucky that you have a voice today.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. But I learned how to vomit without screaming, because there were people right outside the door. So I didn't want them to keep hearing me, because every time I threw up, they'd come in. Are you okay? You shouldn't do that. You're going to rip your inoids. And I'm like, I know how to throw up. I've been doing this for 2.5 years. And I did. They were frustrating. They were so on top of me. As soon as they found out what was wrong with me, I couldn't get them to come to my room. It was like, I'm like, hey, the beeping thing, and I need some water. Hello? And 20 minutes goes by, and I'm like, can somebody please bring me something?
Well, we're glad that you are doing well and on the mend, man, and it's good to see you back at it. So I was concerned, and I had some people contact me and let me know what was going on. So I figured, I'm not going to bother him, just let him do his thing, and we'll talk at some point. And here you are talking after our Cousins Brothers interview. So,
and it's so weird. I very rarely have guests on. That I forgot I had 3 guests lined up this week, including Guy. Yeah. And I didn't even think about emailing anybody or saying, hey, I was out, because I never have guests on. And then today when I woke up this morning, and I still haven't emailed anybody because I'm scared now. It's been too long. I went too long. How do I tell these people I was in the hospital? I guess they're not going to believe me, or go to my Facebook page, I guess, and see me there. That was one of the reasons why I post stuff like that, because I kept hearing my phone go ding, ding, ding. And I had to turn the ringer off. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to say something.
Yeah.
So I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody was so nice. The outpouring of well wishes and love, and guys are unbelievable. It really, I'll be honest, it makes you well up, and it humbles you a lot.
Well, and you can draw strength from that too when you're down low and ill, or just not mentally in a good place. You can kind of get back to that and think, screw all the haters. I'm doing my show. If they don't like it, piss on them.
And I don't even think of the haters anymore. The only reason
I know you've really changed that quite a bit from, geez, what, 4 or 5 months ago when there was the alien addict stuff that was going on and all of that, and you were like, you know what? Nope, I'm done. Yet they still keep going.
They still do. Ufology's got so much to offer, and they just want to focus on the negative. But I know, who am I to say? I did that for so long myself, and you finally realize that, you know what? It really doesn't matter. Somebody told me this. I had this motivational speaker on as a guest, and, healing guy and all this. And he's trying to tell me, and the guy, he's been on TV. I don't remember him right now, but his name is Michael James or something like that. I don't know, some really big name. Okay. And he was on, and he's telling me, you're not responsible for what they do. Why do you feel like you have to be the voice in this? And I go, because if I don't, who's going to know? He goes, they already know. People know what kind of people they are. They just don't care. Like, everything has to run its cycle. You can't control. You're just one person. And I know that sounds demoralizing, but it takes a Herculean effort to make change. And one person can maybe start the change, but it's going to take a lot of people to do it. And at that time, I didn't have a lot of people. So he's like, you're just killing yourself. You're stressing yourself out over things you have no control over. And I said, I understand that, doctor. But
easier said than done, sir.
But I said, I'm not wired that way. I have to say something. I have to. And the reason I have to, because no one else is. That's why I do. That's what Goof On was about. That's why I started doing the AZ UFO show, and way back in 2006. It was just all about really telling people what's going on behind the scenes, what I experienced, how people really do not care about the truth in this field that you think they do, like Dolan and some other people that are out there. I was going to say something, but they're just, I don't know if they're done and over with, but I think that it's time to move on. But I can't tell them to do that. I should move on too. It's been 20 years. What have I done? I haven't done anything. Maybe a few people I've changed minds. I know, because they've emailed me 10 years later and said, you were right. And I said, yeah, I know. I hate being right, but it's like, you don't want to rub it in anybody's face, but you want to rub it in everybody's face. Not just one person. You want to let everybody know you were right. It's nice. Yeah. And it's easy to be right in this field because most of the stuff out there is explainable or it's man-made. So, the odds were in my favor.
Evidence, or there's no evidence,
yeah, easy. It's
what pisses me off the most about what Michelle and I went through. It's like, all I can tell people is how sick I got afterwards. What we saw, story. What happened, and the people that contacted us when we started that Facebook group out of the blue, telling us their stories and going, holy crap, what is going on in this state? And that's, and we were talking to Smoochie in chat, and my thing is that no, we don't agree with every guest that we have on. That's not
Right.
what we're
Oh
here
yeah, I
for.
saw that comment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what we're here for. We're here to ask questions and then come to our own conclusions, between Michelle and I, because it was Michelle and I that had this experience. And this is how this phenomenon seems to work, is that it will present itself. Now, are they craft? Are they ours? Are they aliens? Who can say? But the way that it presented itself to us, and it seems to be very specific, or I shouldn't say specific, very different based on the people that see it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how else to explain
That's it. That's it. You can't.
Yeah. And so, we just, I guess we deal with a bunch of stories, and they could be lies, they could be true, but we'll never know until something happens where we have solid, concrete evidence to look at.
There's so much. When I was in the hospital I watched a lot of these unsolved shows, and all this stuff, and then I watched some stuff I've never seen before, some evidence that's just come out, and I haven't seen it yet because the TV, they get it and then they hold the rights to it, and it never makes it to the internet. So I'm like, wow, man, that is really good. If that's fake, I mean, really, wow, good job. So I know for a fact, because of my own experiences, something is going on that we can't explain. And I think you were, saying that too. Everybody has their own experiences, and that's all. That's it. You can't convince anybody of it, I don't think. They have to experience it. I was one of those people that was interested in it, but never saw anything until I was like 34. And then it was like, oh my God. It's real.
Was that the lights out in the?
It was the ball
desert?
of light that came in. No, it was the ball of light that came into our bedroom. Me and my wife's bedroom. Yeah. Softball size
more
light.
Of a paranormal.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah. But I was into the UFO thing at the time. So, but I've always been into the ghost. But the house we lived in, we found out the lady who owned it before buried her 2 dogs in the backyard planter. And I had captured them as orbs, and I still have the photo somewhere saved, and you can see the faces of 2 Bichon dogs in each one of the orbs.
Oh, that's weird.
I mean, it's I don't even have to tell anybody. I go, what do you see right there? Oh, it's a dog. I go, what kind? I don't know. It looks like a Bichon or something. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, you see it. So isn't that weird?
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Well, that's
why I'm in it.
That's just like myself and my ex-wife, man, when her mom preserved flowers from my mother's funeral, and we got them back in the case, we set them on a counter, and my ex-wife did this, set it on the counter of our kitchen in a non-smoking building, non-smoking apartment, nobody in the apartment with us, nobody underneath us, nothing.
Yeah.
And I moved in to look at the flowers real close, and I could smell cigarettes about maybe 12 inches away from it. And I backed up and I said, do you smell that? She's like, smell what? I said, let's look at the flowers. Come here, get in close. And as you move in, you would get that strong smell, that smell of smoke.
You moved into it?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah,
we did
right
it a
on.
couple times, and we found, we could figure out there was like a section. I don't want to say an orb because it's not an orb, but a dome or something.
Like a bubble.
Yeah, a bubble. There you go. That, when you broke that bubble, you could smell the cigarette smoke, and then
That's
like
so
the third
cool.
time, the third time we did it, it was gone.
You were in a time bubble, man. That's what happened.
Yeah. Well, she was like, well, I guess your mom was coming to check out the flowers. And I knew her cigarette smoke. She smoked those more cigarettes.
My God.
Right? That was her cigarette. And
I don't know those. Yeah.
Yeah, the red ones, I think they were. And she would always say, I'm not going to get sick. I don't inhale anyways. And then she ended up dying of lung cancer. So, So, yeah.
That sucks. But it was her cigarette smoke.
It was very distinct.
That just is so cool. That's like the greatest thing. That's confirmation.
It is.
Confirmation.
Yeah.
And it's for you, and whoever else can sense it. Not everybody will feel it, even or see it, even if they're right next to you. That's the beauty of the phenomena. Hear it even. Did you hear that? No. Whoa, you didn't hear that? It was like they were yelling. I didn't hear a thing. And it's like, whoa, how does that happen? Vibrations, our body's vibration, the room vibration, they matched up like a tuning fork. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it sure is wild stuff, man. I love this planet.
Yeah, it's
Mm-mm-mm.
definitely a crazy ride. So what did you think of the interview? Anything jump out with the Cousins brothers? Like you said, you've talked to them so much and you've seen all their interviews. Anything jump out at you with what they were talking about?
Not really. I mean, I'm trying to go through it because I was doing laundry at the same time.
So was I. Nobody could tell though.
Which, by the way, my load is going to end here.
I was
No.
dirty. I was dirtying my laundry is what I was doing.
Yeah, yeah. So I've heard them so many times. I can probably just say anything I want. It would be pretty much what they said tonight. They, what they're doing is, as a big channel is, I think, important. And I think getting in, pairing up with Greer, because they were officially on his channel, if you go to Greer's channel, there's a video there with Blake talking on it. And, so, I mean, they've integrated into each other, which is a very, very interesting combination. Third Phase of Moon and Dr. Stephen Greer. Everybody knows that Third Phase of Moon. They know who they are. They know they're filmmakers. They know that they've made 3 movies for Greer already. And they've all been smash hits, which is amazing to me. I mean, how amazing is that? These guys make these movies on almost zero budget, and they just go through the roof. They're beating out $100 million movies.
Yeah, it's,
weird. It's weird.
I don't know what to make of Greer. And like I told them at the beginning was, and Michelle was agreeing with me, a lot of the times it seems like Greer is talking in circles and repeating the same stuff, and he's making circular arguments against somebody that we don't know if they're there or not. Like so and so said to us, and it's like, okay,
who? Where?
Who?
Never heard of that guy before. Somebody do a back check.
And I had Michelle on the couch earlier, and we were watching it, and I go, okay, let me logically put this through my filter and see and maybe we can get Greer on here and talk to him about it. Maybe he could break it down a little bit better. But what I was seeing was 1947, UFO comes from billions of miles away, crashes here on Earth. We get materials, we put it to Wright-Patterson and everything else. And now before 1947, by the way, people were reporting different types of UFOs. But okay, let's just leave that behind. Now our government has broken these things apart and gone to Wright-Patterson and gone over here and bodies over there, da-da-da-da-da. They've been working on it for 78 years, and we have no weapons of destruction that we're flying over China going, listen to us.
Right.
But instead what we're going to do is we're going to fly triangles, and we're going to make Tic Tacs and stuff zip around in crowded airspace, which is an FAA regulation
violation. Yeah.
You can't even, what is it? Is it a part 107 or something just to fly drones?
Yes, that is it. You're right. That's right.
So, yeah. But they're going to fly these 300-foot per side triangles over populated areas so we can see them, make everybody think we're crazy, but yet then we're going to have an alien invasion false flag. So we've been working for the last 78 years on making everybody think they're nuts and then faking an invasion. So for what?
You know why? It's always about money. It's about getting the black budget projects their
Good
money,
point.
and you have to have a threat. Without the threat, you have no fear. Without the fear, you can't get people to sign off on stuff to make better technology, to take the fear away. Oh my God, I better sign up for this. They need that funding to come up with new technology to, fight their technology because they're ahead of us. And that's what it all comes down to. And if they put the alien twist on it, well, then, wow, that exponentially makes it more important because they could take us out at any time.
Right.
It's like, oh my God, the aliens, they could just do whatever they want. Well, why don't they? Well, who knows? But they're planning something. There's a threat out there. We don't know what it is, but you got to, it's for funding. That's all it's ever been about. See, I think Roswell's all BS anyway. And what?
I was just going to say, I listened to a gentleman, Andrew Bustamante, who's a former CIA. I don't know if you've seen him.
I do know the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
He really puts it out there. And this kind of backs up like what we're both saying. He says the CIA, the way they recruit people are these people that might have some moral flexibility in them. In other words, to do bad things. But the goal is always, at least in the main government, is for American primacy. So in other words, for America to be the top dog on the planet with everything. If we have these technologies, what makes America number one and primacy, the top dog, if we can have a fleet of quote unquote TR-3Bs hovering wherever we want them and nothing can touch them? We're the top dog. That's it. That's the end of it. So it makes no sense to me that the government would be working on this stuff. Now, maybe private contractors, robots, General Dynamics, AI.
Maybe.
That's a different story. So I don't know. That it just, Michelle's like looking at me while we're watching this, and she goes, "Okay, I need to get up and walk away because you're making my head hurt even more."
Right. And then every time my head gets to that point, I say to myself, well, what are abductions? And then it's like, okay, now we're going to bring aliens into this because we got the technology, but millions of people have had abductions. What about that? Is that real, or are we just hallucinating everything while we're sleeping? Come on. There's one real story out of all of those. I know that. I feel it in my bones. Something tells me that would be insane if it wasn't. So,
well, I just wonder if somebody's feeding Greer, like if he's on a list somewhere and they're like, we got somebody better than Lazar, guys. You ready? Dr. Greer, check this out. Let's feed him some information. And it could be, it should not be like CIA. It's against the law for them to operate in the United States.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Quote unquote. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But it could be other countries. France has a very big bone to pick with us, and they do intelligence operations against us all the time. Russia, China, Israel. I mean, there were people arrested not too long ago, naval engineers that were giving secrets to Israel, and they are in prison right now. Things like that. So I don't know. I think something's going on with Greer, 100%, and he may be onto some stuff. But
Dorothy nailed it spot on.
What did Dorothy say?
Elizondo and Greer both having the same lawyer. You got to wonder.
I didn't think of that. That's right. That's really like
a good
comment
point,
of the year right there. Yeah, that is true. Well, you know why? That's really smart, because then they can disclose everything to just one person, and he knows both sides of the story.
And he can control the narrative of their information through one person.
And you know whose idea that was? Daniel Sheehan's.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll just work for both of you, double the pay.
I don't know. It does. None of that stuff gets us any closer to figuring out what we went through and what we saw. But I don't know, man. I know Greer is famous for the Wilson documents and getting that out there, and he is, for better or worse, man. Him along with Third Phase of the Moon are getting this stuff out there, and it's got people interested because there is, without a doubt, something going on. Is it what they say? I don't know. It seems too human thought. Like the thought process is too human for what they're saying is going on, versus how would we even know what an alien mind might think when they see Earth if it's aliens?
Right.
You know what I'm getting at.
You can't know. That's my thing. Yeah, I always say that. How do you don't know the intent? You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know where they come from, why they think the way they do, how they think. Who knows if they even think? Maybe they just react. I don't know, man.
I know some people have said the Greys are like AI drones.
Yeah, that too.
You know?
That makes a lot of sense, though. If they can, yeah, it does.
See,
I don't mind that. Yeah, I don't mind that. Because it doesn't. No, because if they have to, well, we assume they travel great distances. I don't think they do. I think they probably have wormholed it, teleported some way or another. I do. I really do. Because it's so far. It would take thousands of generations and lifetimes, right?
Yeah.
Just to go at the speed of light. It would take that long to go somewhere that's worthy of life. So, or has life, I should say. But there's so many out there. How can that not be happening here in our own solar system?
Correct.
According to, some people, there's 1 million people living in our solar system, or more than that, on all the moons and stuff.
I mean, how would we really know? I mean,
we see things. You see strange looking monolith shapes on that one place. What is that? Io, or I don't know what the hell that moon is.
The Jupiter moon, yeah.
Something, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, there's structures that could be on Mars or the moon. I mean, there's some really good evidence out there, and people have whistleblown, and they said that they were there and were told how things were airbrushed. You've seen that documentary or that thing on Unsolved Mysteries, and he said they just airbrushed them off the moon pictures, and that's how they go out to the public. They airbrush everything. So,
yeah,
I believe they do. I believe there's a huge cover up. What is it? Who are they? What do they want? My God, it's got to be something so phenomenal that they can't disclose it to us because we wouldn't be able to handle it. Because I bet you if we found out what it was, we would want it so bad that we would probably do anything to get it. And that could cause people to go crazy. Imagine living forever if they had that technology. I want to get that. How do I get that? Well, people will figure out a way to group together and storm Area 51 maybe. Who knows? Billionaires get together. You never know what people will do. It's fun, though.
Yeah, it's fun to speculate.
And then we talk about the underground military bases, the DUMBs, and then talk about,
Oh, those have to be real. I mean, if you look at
of course.
Like nuclear missile sites and NORAD in the mountain, and
%.
Those bases are real. Are they where people say they are? Well, then they're not very secret if that's true.
They probably, you can probably throw a dart anywhere now and hit some place underground that's got motion in it under it. But I think there's tunnels all under the U.S. now. I think that's a lot of the booms people here in the southeast part of the United States. They're just constantly doing stuff, man.
Are they getting
crazy.
Ready for a extinction level impact? And
maybe. I think that is imminent. It's imminent anyway.
It is.
The big one is imminent, which isn't really extinction level, but the big one would be big. The tsunami would probably take out millions of people from that if there was one.
And then you have Yellowstone.
Yellowstone's overdue by 60,000 years, is it? You would know, right? Well, how many years is it overdue?
Yeah, I want to say it's about 50 to 80, somewhere in
Jesus.
that range.
Oh,
yeah.
I guess right.
And they constantly are talking about how that ground is rising and subsiding and rising and subsiding.
So wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's active, totally active. You know, New Zealand, I didn't know they get earthquakes all the time in New Zealand. It's crazy over there.
Oh, yeah. That's on that,
the Ring of Fire.
The Ring of Fire.
Yeah.
And that area is a big subduction zone where a big chunk of oceanic crust is sliding underneath that whole area. That's where you get the Marianas Trench.
Yeah.
And so, that's really active. Yeah.
I was watching Drain the Oceans, you know, and they drain the ocean, show us the Ring of Fire. And I was like, dude, this planet is alive. It is so awesome. There's no way we can hurt the earth. I don't think we could kill it. I think we could kill it, though, if we launched every nuclear weapon and everything we had into the atmosphere. That would hurt it for a long time. But the earth would still be doing its molten lava, plate tectonic, and all that other stuff. Don't you believe the earth is alive? Do you think it's alive? I think it's alive.
It's an organism.
An organism. Wow. Yeah. It is, isn't it?
It is.
If it's alive.
It is a collection of different systems, just like you have in your body.
Yes.
That, you know, it is. It is alive, and it is an organism, and there are things that depend on other things to happen. Like, you know, people poo-poo global warming and all that stuff. That's, you know, I understand. All right. I've looked at the data. The problem I have is that most people don't understand that 70% of the planet's oxygen comes from the ocean. So if we do have a large influx of carbon dioxide into the air, it gets absorbed by the ocean. And what that does is it kills all the phytoplankton because the upper levels of the ocean are becoming more acidic. That's what we should worry about.
Interesting. Yeah.
You don't want, you can look up the papers and stuff and how they are testing the ocean acidity, because if those things go, we're gone. You can burn every plant and tree on the ground, on the world, if you want to. There's still going to be oxygen. But you go into the ocean and you turn that water into carbonic acid, it's going to kill all those phytoplankton animals.
Wow.
And there goes just about all the oxygen.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
You know,
if more people knew that, you know, maybe it would be more of a serious thing that we should, you know, take care of our oceans, take care of our water. You know, there's ways of doing it.
China, India, Japan, they don't give a shit about the ocean. They don't give a shit about the wildlife. They don't care.
Nope.
They're just survivalists, and they'll extinct. They'd rather die than, you know, try to survive the right way.
Day, man.
Unreal.
Those countries, they're still living like we were living close to 200 years ago, man. The next
pretty much the industrial age, right? They are. They're dumping everything into. They are 90% of the problem. Yep. I couldn't believe it when I found that out. I was so angry.
Well,
I watched a lot of TV when I was in there.
That's good.
Yeah,
but I received a message from Jared Murphy. They were down in Belize, and he said, "You're not going to believe this, but the bathrooms here are all piped, and all the pipes run out of the back of the building, and you can watch everything flow right into the ocean."
Oh no, you're kidding.
No, sir.
But the ocean, see, I think when there's a certain amount of people in a certain civilization, that's why we've had extinction level events. I think something happens where we implode on ourselves, because we've either consumed everything or everything just stopped working for whatever reason. The governments, everybody, I think we're almost at that tipping point. When we get to 10 billion people, when we get to 9 billion people, the water shortage is going to be phenomenal, they say. And we're only, 10, 12 years away from that. So yep. I'm glad I'm checking out.
Well, on that note, Richie, since it's such a positive note,
yes,
we're at the 2 hour and 3 minute mark, and we're gonna wrap this up so I can get this out as an audio podcast as well. But do you want to let anybody know everybody know what you got coming up soon? I know you're talking about maybe getting guests back on and all that. So what?
Well, yeah, I've got a couple of ghost hunts I'm going to do, and
Washington. What's going on in Washington, man?
So I found out today I can get funding to go to Washington, so I'm probably going to go. So it's going to be incredible. So that's probably going to happen, and then I'm going to go to Miami, do some storm chasing. This year's got a lot of stuff ready to go, and I've got the cameras all charged up, and tonight I got a little show just to talk about the week, and that's coming up in about an hour. Exactly an hour, yeah.
All right. So everybody, you heard it here. Make sure you get over there to Richie's show in 1 hour, and let's give him some support, and
it's gonna be good.
Likes and views and shares, and let's get that going.
You'll see.
But welcome back, Richie. We're glad to see you. We're glad you're healthy. You're on the mend.
Thank you for that. I don't know, man. Some days I just want it to end. I don't want to do this anymore. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
But you have to, talk to me after 20 years, and then we'll see.
Right.
It sucks. Nothing changes. I just want change. That's it. Okay, I know we got to go. I'll talk to you later. Thank you for having me on. It was nice having me.
All right, Richie. Take care, man.
All right. Good night, Richie.
Bye, Michelle. Thanks. See you guys.
Oh, Michelle, what a great show, man. I told you this was going to be a damn fine show.
Damn good show.
Damn good show. Not only did we have third phase of the moon on, but we got Richie to jump on with us for a little bit and talk about things. And man, glad he's doing well. And, the haters are going to hate. I guess he's really renting space in their head for whatever reason. I don't know. If any of those people are listening to us or whatever, stop wasting your time and focus your energy somewhere better, and move forward, man. Stop living in that past, and we can all move forward together. So everybody in the chat room over there, Jeanette Angel, Straw Dog, Smoochy, not
Heavy Metal
sure.
Dorothy.
Yes, Bernie Miro, thank you guys for joining us, and we really, really like and appreciate you guys showing up for this one. Now, remember, next Saturday, no show, so we're taking that weekend off for graduation, but the following Saturday, it's Stephen Bassett. Once again, he's going to be on, and we're going to find out a little bit about what's going on in DC here soon, so... man, that's going to be really exciting, and Contact in the Desert and all of this. So
head on over and check Richie out.
Yep. So about 45 minutes, 50 minutes or so.
Yeah,
get over there to
like
goof on. All right, Michelle. This was a damn fine show.
Fine show.
Love this show.
Have a damn good night, everyone.
And remember, everyone, those damn eyes
to the sky.
So ridiculous. All right. We just need to stop. All right. Bye, everybody. Where's our outro? Is it right here?